This is Groundeffected. My name is your dad, and in this video, I'm going to show you how I made this 3D printed magic robot boy. This video was sponsored by Elegoo, and this leads me straight into the new machine that Elegoo has put on to the market of 3D printing. This is the Mars 4 DLP Resin 3D printer. And now I can already hear you saying, Groundeffected, what is a DLP printer? And I'm going to tell you right now what it is. Basically, this printer is a projector. It's simple as. Normally, you have a screen which masks off the light that is exposed from the bottom of the printer onto the resin in your vat. In this case, the light is not masked off, it is projected in the exact shape of which you need to be printing in. So basically, this means that you are now going to have a much longer lifespan of your screen, because there is no screen. The screen that is technically there is actually just a piece of tempered glass. And you may be asking yourself, what is the benefit of having the image projected rather than masked by a screen? Well, the screen is the weak point. The screen is something that needs to be replaced on most 3D printers fairly often. Using a projector like this means that the lifespan of your screen, which is actually just a piece of glass, is a whole lot longer, up to 20,000 hours of printing time. This machine boasts a 52 micron XY resolution, and it's using a 2K projector which has 2,560 pixels by 1,440, and by pixels what I actually mean is voxels. If I knew what all these fancy things meant, I would be telling you these things with a friggin' lab coat on in a science factory. But we all know that's not why you're here. You came to see the friggin' epic miniature that I have made in this video. And to make this miniature, I'm gonna start out by doing a whole lot of cutting, as I usually do whenever I make a miniature. As we've learnt by now, I don't make miniatures without cutting, drilling, or making major modifications to the miniature. This miniature in question is actually a Death Company Dreadnought, which is some kind of big robot boy that carries packed lunch for all the other robot boys that are out on a mission killing aliens. And this particular one was sculpted by Blackrock Miniatures, whom I will leave a link in the description for you to go and check out his sculpts, because I'm just going to tell you now, they are freaking epic. This dude makes some of the coolest big thick dread boys that you could ever possibly imagine in your life, and this is why I decided to feature this one in this video. So one thing that I did notice is the way that this guy cuts the models and has them prepared for printing means that it's so easy to put LEDs in them. So I decided with this model I'm going to add some LEDs, and what you're watching in the background is me adding LEDs. I will eventually make a video on specific LEDs, what exact ones that I use, and the wiring that I use, and the batteries, and all the rest of the resistors and everything that goes into it. But for now, let's just enjoy watching this model come together, and let's not think about all the fancy difficult parts about making this, because who even has the time to figure out those difficult bits? We'll do that one day. Now, from what I've gathered about this big robot boy is that he is one of the Blood Angel varieties of thick robot men, and pretty much I think when they die, then they take their body, their spirit of their body, the goo. They take the goo of their body and put it into this robot man, which is not a robot. If you say it's a robot, then the nerds get very angry with you and start to throw their toys. So it's not a robot, even though it very much looks like a robot. It is not a robot. Thick boy is from the Death Company, and I have no idea what that means. Honestly, I don't know what the Death Company is. All I know is that even though it is a blood angel, it's actually painted black. It's really complicated. I try not to get involved in the complicated side of things. I just make sure to stick somewhat to the lore, and the rest of it just doesn't really matter now, does it? We're making models, and making models is fun. Now, the very astute of you watching this video will probably be able to follow along just by watching what I'm doing. There isn't really much to explain about this. I'm putting in LEDs. They're 3mm wide. I have to drill a hole open up that hole, make sure the LED fits in, and make sure that it all fits together. Then I'm wiring them up, and what I ended up doing was wiring everything together, and this is where I came across my first mistake of this build. I often make these mistakes because I actually don't have a clue what I'm doing. Contrary to the videos and what you see on this YouTube channel, I have no idea what I'm doing. I make this up as I go along, and I make a lot of mistakes, and then I learn from them, and when I learn from them, I tend to share that with you on this channel. Now, as you can see, there is a lot of wires coming out of this robot boy's behind side. But before I actually explain that issue to you, let me take you on a little bit of an ADHD detour. And this is just so that I can make sure that you are actually paying attention to my videos, because a lot of people don't seem to watch very far into the videos. So I put this specifically at the place where most people wouldn't be watching, and this is a little snippet of something coming in the future. ADHD detour aside, let's get back to all those wires coming out the bottom and why that was a mistake. The reason this was a massive mistake is because the LEDs that I had put in are different forward voltages. What does forward voltage mean? I don't know. All I know is that if you connect them all together on one battery, some work and some don't. This has obviously got to do with the amount of resistance needed in order to stop the electricity going from one LED. It's very complicated stuff, and I can't even begin to explain it to you. Like I said, I do all this by trial and error. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And then I have to figure out why it doesn't work, and I don't care about the maths. No one cares about the maths. As I say, it's not important to measure things. Only losers measure things. Cut 15 times, print it 80 times, and some of them, or even one of them, might work. So basically what I ended up doing was splitting up the orange and the green lights from each other. The green lights, I think, needed a lower voltage essentially to be running. I can run them on the higher voltage, it just means they run warm, and I shouldn't probably run them for very long because they won't last very long like that. So basically what I ended up doing was making two circuits, two batteries, one for the orange and one for the green. This made my life so much easier, and it meant that I didn't have to do any fancy resistors or any weird stuff that meant using my brain, and I didn't really want to use my brain for this, and this is the situation. Also, I ended up putting a white light in the top because I thought that was going to be quite cool, but like I said, with the voltage differences between them, this didn't work out so well, and the green lights took away too much of the voltage from the white one. So I ended up going back and putting the grappler on the top instead, but because the grappler has a little bit of like an engine thing inside of it, I added an LED to this too, just so that we could have some lights on that inside of the engine casing, which looks really cool. And now that I've got the model put together and I have got everything in the position that I wanted it to be in, I'm doing the final cure. I originally cured these parts before, just a really quick cure. It's mostly just to be able to work with it so that it's not 100% poisonous, but I do like to give a model, once it's been fully built, a good solid cure all together as one piece. I don't know why I do this, I just do it, and I've done this ever since I've been 3D printing. Now you can see the results of the LEDs on the inside of the model, and this looks really great. Almost looks better in grey. To be honest, I'm almost thinking I should have just kept it grey. I didn't keep it grey. I actually painted this model. But this video isn't going to be about the painting of this model. So I'm going to literally do something called movie video YouTube magic. And you're just going to see the results. When I say the words, that is where I called this model done. I would just like to say a massive thank you to Elegoo for sponsoring this video, and of course, if you're interested in the new Mars 4 DLP machine for yourself, then check out the description. There will be a link for the machine as well as the resins and the curer. I hope that this video inspires you to do something with your 3D printer that is totally different from the normal, or maybe it's normal. I don't know what normal people do anymore, but I really do enjoy making things, and I hope that this inspires you to take your model making a little bit further. Of course, we're at the part of the video where I do need to thank my patrons for keeping the light blind in my eyeballs this entire time. But we also got a couple new patrons this week, and I would like to thank them right meow. Chaotic 3D Prints, Joao Pereira Lima, Bep, Vinicius Gallo, Ricardo Perella, Kevin Browning, and Paul de Antignac. Thank you my dudes for the support and the help in blinding my eyeballs with the light of the Patreon. Of course, we're now at the part of the video where I need to say, if you haven't already, click like on the video and share it with your gran. She'll probably like it, and if she doesn't, then maybe you don't, and if you don't, I don't care, and this is the time that you should now f*** off. Now I'm gonna go and burn someone's plastic toys because my idea of Warhammer is a little bit more terrifying than the one in the book.